Alright, so tonight we're going to be playing in the ManaTraders series. It was out in December, but it's back for January, so I'm pretty excited about that. I was going to play my Boros red deck, but they didn't have enough Den of the Bugbears for me to rent, which was pretty sad. So we're going to be playing the Rakdos Rock deck, which I'm a pretty big fan of. I liked it when I played it last. Lord, I'm out of breath. I mean, it's really sweet. Like, it's really just this, like, really good, like, curving mid-range deck. Like, I kind of wish it had some number of Croaks in the deck, which I thought about trying to squeeze in here, but I decided against it. We're just going to run the list we were playing, so... Oh, wow. It's giving me, like, a whole thing now. Like, you have to, like, accept. They've really upgraded this thing, so... Kind of hoping it goes well tonight. I haven't played a ManaTraders series in a couple weeks, but I remember it being a lot of fun. All right, we got a match. Pioneer tournament practice. All right. Well, let's do it. Let's start this off right. We're on the draw, but that's okay. One thing I enjoy about these like Rakdos, like these like mid-rangey decks, is that like normally they can play decently from the draw. So oh yeah, time for the best Magic streamer ever. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that confidence. I think we'll try this. It's one more land than I'd like to have, but it's okay. We have both of our colors. Glacial Fortress. I'm not gonna lie, I saw Gigantha and I immediately thought Junsack. So, puts one card on the bottom. And they say go. We draw into a pretty good 2-drop, so we'll take that. Our opponent kept a 1-lander. That is wildly interesting to me. Puts one card on the bottom. Oh, okay. Oh, so they're playing... Alright, so they're playing this. Alright, that makes sense. Is the logo new? Looks good. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, that is a new logo. I'm pretty excited about it, honestly. Alright, we're going to attack for 3. Discard the mountain here. Like, really just need to see if we need to... we played it out that way so that if we drew into, like, another Harvester, we could run it out that way. Alright. Alright, we'll attack for 3. This feels like a... Is the logo new? Oh, sorry, I just saw this. Yeah, that is a new logo, actually. I'm pretty excited about it. I actually got somebody on Fiverr to do it for me, so hopefully this isn't like gas here hitting a pathway. I haven't seen a logo slap that hard since the old cocaine Coca-Cola logos. One, that's hilarious, and 2, I appreciate it. I'm sure the person who did that is very appreciative of that. Honestly, depending on what our opponent does next turn, we might just be in a situation where we're firing up Hive of the Eye Tyrant or Den of the Bugbear and just getting in the red zone. With Menace, okay? Alright, so this is Jeskai Ascendancy. Okay. They have 9 cards now. They haven't hit a land. Nope. Did they play? I think they played Botanical Sanctum this turn. No? Oh, they were on the play, so that makes sense. Portable Hole? Okay. Alright, we're going to crash in for 4 here. Put our opponent to 8. We're going to play the Bloodtithe Harvester here and say go. We're trying to amount as much of a board presence as we possibly can here just to try and end the game quickly here. We have, like, our hand wasn't really good against this deck. We haven't seen any, like, we didn't see any hand disruption in Go Blank or Thoughtseize. So this has been a tough game. Our opponent's hand wasn't that good, thankfully, so we have a chance here. I mean, I say that knowing we could die any turn. Another carry added, okay. Alright. The fact that they've had double portable hole is pretty annoying. Well, Fatal Push is not getting us anywhere. I think we're just plussing here. Alright, we put our opponent to 6 here. Discarding Den of the Bugbear. We're going to get a basic swamp here. Right? Yeah. And then we're going to swing in with the clowns here. Exile something. Doesn't really matter. And the reason we attacked with Den of the Bugbear last turn, as opposed to the Hive of the Eye Tyrant, is Den of the Bugbear is an extra point. And it does give us a... Den of the Bugbear is just the extra point gives us more value over exiling a card. Okay? Well, the good news is that if they don't kill us here, we're in a pretty decent spot because we just have lethal off minus and to cast Shatterskull Smashing. Now, the annoying part is they could, like, Omnath and do some pretty dumb stuff here. Like, they have a lot of options. It's not exactly like we have the game won just yet or anything. Five, 6, 7, 8. Oh, are you casting Treasure Cruise? I'm not gonna lie, the fact that my opponent leads on Treasure Cruise there makes me feel pretty good about us winning this first game. Now I say that and I'll lose, but... Alright, well... We were gonna finally draw into a Go Blank. Alright here. Duress. K-Command, Bedevil... Go Blank. Sorin? Do we want Sorin as grinding? I mean, I don't know that we really want a ton of that. So, Bloodchief's Thirst and Fatal Push are probably some of our worst removal spells. Kalitas is slow. They don't really have any, like, Planeswalkers or anything that we have to deal with. The only thing we really have to be worried about is beating Omnath, and we do need a consistent way to beat up on Omnath. But I think between all the removal... I think we can try it like this. Yeah, I like having this. I like having Bedevil as Artifact Hate, so that's pretty good. It's Artifact Hate / it kills, plus it's murder for Omnath, the problem card here, so... I wasn't thinking about it. I should have brought in the 2-mana exile or the destroy target creature or enchantment to help us beat up on actually I'm gonna cast Thoughtseize here in case we have an opportunity to take a Sylvan Caryatid here. I should have brought in the Feed the Swarm to help us beat up on Jeskai Ascendancy. That would have been really good. Well, we're going to take Ascendancy here because they have removal spells, and that's fine. But I think us being able to take Treasure Cruise here is just good enough. We have a pretty solid hand as long as we use our cards the right way. We're going to run out Bloodtithe Harvester here. Hitting a swamp was pretty solid. Okay, so they bricked on a land. Now that feels pretty good. We're going to attack for 3. We're going to get down the Trespasser here. And we'll exile Caryatid. Doing anything we can to keep the Treasure Cruise off the field is just, that's really good for us. Keeping Treasure Cruise out of play is probably okay. Portable hold that thingy, okay. Oh, hitting a tap land is not the worst. Alright, so we'll go ahead and cast Go Blank here. I'm more interested in... I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this category. So they got rid of Treasure Cruise. So they've Caryatid, Unknown in their hand. We've done a pretty good job of keeping all their stuff off the field so far here, so... If I can hit untapped land... Madeline Hermit? Okay. Alright, they just concede to the Duress there. Okay. So you take into account for the fact that... Oh, we're on the draw again. Take into account for the fact that people took some time off for the holidays. I like this hand. This is good. People took some time off for the holidays, and there wasn't one last month. Makes me feel pretty good about this. About finding matches pretty quickly. Fatal Push would be a good draw step. Also settle for Thoughtseize here. We'll take Dauntless Bodyguard here. Now, I think we can beat everything here. We just need to play strategically. Scream White Humans, so... Must have found another 1-drop here. That's a tough scene. We're going to go to 17. So I'm going to cast it now because if they hit a land, they can just give it indestructible. And I am more interested in keeping that on the board. I'm more interested in keeping Kytheon from flipping here because there's not many good ways. Like, there's only 2 Dreadbores. Is really the only good way in the deck for me to deal with that as a card. So I'm kind of hoping they play land Luminarch Aspirant so that we can spend our turn. They draw a card. Okay. They attack for 3. Well, Thoughtseize won't be very good for long, so there is no way that drawing instead of playing a 2-drop was correct there. No, I also don't think that either. I understand they want to hit a land, but I agree with you. I don't think that was correct either. I think using Thoughtseize while they have the most cards in our hand is our best situation here. Plus, Bloodtithe Harvester serves as a removal spell and a blocker when we need it to, so that feels pretty good. Our opponent probably casts Spellbinder here. Either way, I feel pretty decent about the Spellbinder. I imagine they take Chandra. This is only as a sorcery, right? Man, if you could activate that at instant speed, that would be insane. They do take Chandra, which makes sense. I kind of assumed they would. A double Aspirant in their hand, and they don't attack at all. Go ahead and do this now. We're going to use our K command here to make them kill we're going to kill something, and then we're going to return our Harvester here, which I think is the best case scenario because returning our Harvester gives us an extra removal spell. Now, that does pose a problem. Target player deals 2 damage to any target. Return this, destroy this. I'm going to take 2 here. So there's 2 options here. We're going to fetch for a mountain here at the end step regardless. But the one option is sacrifice a blood token to make a mountain or to get rid of our pathway in hopes of finding a removal spell. Or our other line is hold on to the blood token because we know Bloodtithe Harvester is a removal spell for Adeline. I don't know. This is tough. Because I think we want that land for Chandra. I think we're just going to say go. So, play Bloodtithe Harvester. Adeline is going to be a 6/5 next turn, which is nasty. Yeah, I know. I'm worried that we're going to have to use K command off Bloodthirsty Adversary in conjunction with Bloodtithe Harvester to get Adeline off the field, which isn't great, but we'll be fine. Alright, they did hit a land at least. So if they attack with just Adeline, we're gonna block the token and take 5. Do you need help, baby?
No, I got it.
You sure? You look like you could use a hand there. I think this is the safest way to block. We take 6 and go to 4 here. I mean, if they have like a 1-mana pump spell, then we're kind of in a bad spot. Wow, Kalitas is insane off the top. And I wish we would have had that last turn. So I think... So there's two plays here. One is to play Adversary, kick it, K-Command the Luminarch Aspirant, and yeah, top deck Master. That's for sure. And to kill the, I guess we use Bloodtithe Harvester to kill Adeline. Then we kick this. No, it's not dying. I think our best play is just play Kalitas here, and then use Harvester. Like, I feel like this has to be the best play. And we're at 4, so I'm not going to attack. I'm not going to get greedy here. Thank you, baby, for running getting food. And I honestly feel like we don't really want to discard our adversary here. I think we're going to use it next turn to... you okay?
Yeah.
Carly's over here running into trash cans, everybody. We're going to use Bloodthirsty Adversary to... Our opponent's very aggressive with drawing cards off the clues here. Maybe they have a Collected Company in their hand and they feel like that's the way to get back into this game. Alright, next turn we can attack with the Kalitas, and yeah, this is... I feel like we're in a pretty decent spot. Like, Collected Company into a couple of insane draws here is really the only way they get out of this, I feel like. And also, hitting a land at any point for our Chandra is insane. Ask and you shall receive. So, we're going to play Adversary. We're going to kick one time. We're going to hit K-Command. Always puts it up here. From your graveyard, deal 2 damage to any target. We're going to return Harvester, deal 2 damage to this. Is determined to outgrind you somehow. Yeah, they do feel... It does seem like they are pretty determined to beat us here, which is pretty impressive in my opinion. I don't know. I'm just going to attack with Kalitas here. I don't want to get too aggressive. I have talked about in the past how that is one of my downsides, is that I play too aggressively in moments like this. So I think I would rather just play all of my cards here and leave back as many blockers as I can. Even if they have a Collected Company, like, we're in a pretty solid position. Like, even Brutal Cathar doesn't, like, win the game for them here because we just play Chandra and get our... That Thalia's Lieutenant is, like... I remember during Shadows over Innistrad Standard, like, Thalia's Lieutenant was, like, one of the most feared cards in the format. And now, like, I saw that card and, like, I didn't even bat an eye. Like, it didn't even scare me. Alright, so we can sacrifice 2 zombies here if we want to the Kalitas, so I'm actually just going to attack again here. Yeah, let's attack for 7. Play Chandra, and I mean, we could add for mana here. but I think it's probably better just to get this thing off the field. This thing causes more problems than most. We get to kill this, and then we get to make another token, and then next turn we're in a lethal position. Okay, so we do. All right, so I kind of respect my opponent's just sheer will to try and outgrind me here. It's a little aggressive, but I do respect it. They are gonna lose, and they did give away information through playing Collected Company. Now there was like a 90% chance that they were based on the way that the game is played out and the fact that they're playing green in a mono white deck, but they did just give away free information there. And we were drawing in a Sorin. That felt pretty good. Okay. Legion's End, Bedevil, K-Command, Sorin, Extinction Event, Legion's End. I do not think we want Thoughtseize. I do not think we want Go Blank. We could bring in a Grafdigger's Cage just to try and get our opponent here, but that feels a little cute. Shatterskull Smashing can be really good, especially late game, so I don't know if I want to cut it or not. Maybe we cut a Harvester? I don't know, but that's early game interaction. Harvester provides ways to cycle through your deck, and it provides removal spells, so I really wonder if that's what we want to be cutting. Trespasser gains life. Fatal Push, Bloodchief starts to removal spells. Yeah, I don't know. I think we just want to cut Harvester. I think that's the worst card here. This feels pretty good. One thing to be mindful of if we do have our Extinction Event is that a lot of their deck is, well, I don't know about now, but it used to be that a lot of their deck was odd colored removal spell or odd mana cost creatures. So this hand's good. We have multiple removal spells. We get to go Castle into Den of the Bugbear, into Haunted Ridge, into Fabled Passage. And our opponent leads on Mutavault. I'm actually just going to play this way and bluff our opponent on a removal spell here. It's a bluff 100%, but at the same time our opponent doesn't know we don't have anything. Okay, our opponent has taken 2 turns off. I am very grateful for that. I am moderately worried that our opponent has 3 Collected Companies in their hand. Oh, I hit 5, not 6. So we have played to the board before our opponent, which is pretty solid here. Spellbinder? Okay. I imagine they take Bonecrusher Giant. They take Dreadbore. Okay. Feed the Swarm will play well. I think it's our best case scenario here just to remove all their threats. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the Harvester as a way out because I can return it with K-Command here and then use it to remove something bigger the following turn. So I imagine they're going for Collected Company here. They've gotten to 4 mana, especially if our opponent passes here. Yeah, so I guess the question is discarding as good as killing something? And I think the answer to that is no, but I would like to return my Harvester. They're going to wait, they're going to discard a card, and then our opponent's going to cast Collected Company here, I imagine. They discard Thalia. Interesting they haven't played Thalia yet. Alright, we're going to play Harvester here. We have enough blood tokens to where Harvester is really like a pretty solid removal spell. Like there's not much it can't kill. Yep, Collected Company makes sense. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm definitely going to say go here. Using Stomp on the Brutal Cathar is going to feel really good here in just a second. I don't think we're playing around Heron's Grace Champion or whatever it's called, the one that flashes in and anthems. We got to fetch for a swamp here so that our castle will come into play untapped next turn. We have 2 red sources. I don't know that we really... I mean, we might need a third, but I don't think it's very likely. Stomp, Brutal Cathar. Bloodtithe Harvester makes a 3rd token. Okay. Portable Hole. Alright, so we can use K command to kill Thallia's Lieutenant. Destroy the Portable Hole. So we can't use it for that. Alright. So our stuff is getting kind of big here. We are in a little bit of a tricky situation. We have to take 4 this turn. So, let's see here. Shatterskull Smashing is a couple away from being good enough. So, we destroy Portable Hole, kill Thallia's Lieutenant, and then we feed the swarm this Thallia's Lieutenant, go to 14. Actually, we're feed the swarming this. And then next turn we have Harvester for that. Alright, that seems pretty good. Destroy target artifact, deals 2 damage to any target. Destroy to... Yeah, we make a blood token. We feed the swarm this. We go to 14 and we say go. Now our opponent's out of cards. Yeah, we're in a pretty commanding position from this spot here. This feels pretty solid. Dahlia's not a bad card. I am taking 6 here. I need my Harvester to deal with the Lieutenant. Let's see. So this costs 4, right? No, I'm sorry. It costs 5? Oh, so it costs 4, but normally it costs 5 because of that. So... and we're going to say go here. Let's see, is it 6 or more? Is that what it turns into? Divided amongst any of them you may choose. So we're a couple of lands away from making our Shatterskull Smashing pretty busted. If our opponent just fires up Mutavault and attacks here, Redain. Okay, that's not bad. If they fire up the Mutavault and attack here, I was like, I'm just going to block the Mutavault because we can kill the Thalia with sorcery speed removal. So we kill that. Honestly, I feel like we're just cycling the Blood Crypt here. I understand that like getting to 6 to play Shatterskull Smashing divided amongst a bunch of things is really good, but I don't think it's worth. I don't think that presents enough value within itself, so I think just cycling a blood token here is pretty solid. Raven Inspector is not a bad draw from our opponent. Kalitas, Sorin, Fatal Push is a really good one. Alright, Kalitas off the top. Graveyard Trespasser is really not bad. Oh yeah, you gotta pay one more. Might be hard to handle. And again, we're in a pretty commanding spot, so we're just gonna say go here. We have another removal spell in our hand, plus a man land to use as blocking, and 3 blood tokens at our dispense. Brutal Cathar is not bad. Okay. So we're going to deal 2 to this. We're going to... I think we're better off just saying go. I like keeping the Den of the Bugbear here because it's an extra utility land that we can utilize later in the game. Our opponent drew a land. Why not just kill both creatures there? Can you kill both creatures? I thought it had to be 6 or more. Oh, I should have read the card. It's up to 2 creatures, so I could have just killed both of them there. Yeah, you're right. That was correct. I just didn't read the card, so... Good call. Good call. Say okay, we're going to hit K command. Hopefully our opponent's on the concession train here soon. Nope. Nope. Return target creature from your graveyard, deal 2 damage to any target. Return Harvester, deal 2 to this. Play Harvester. Is that a different clock? I believe it is a different clock. There's nothing they can draw to kill us here because we're gaining 2 life. And we're going to 11, so we're just going to say go here. Mono removal feels so good against this type of white weenie. Yeah, for sure, man. It feels like you're in a pretty commanding position when you have this many removal spells against a deck like this. Like... Well, it's 3 rounds in a row we get to be on the draw. Keep losing to 6s too. I feel like I go through a lot of stints. Kahira the Orphan Guard. We're going to keep. Our opponent's on a mulligan and we have a Thoughtseize, so... Our opponent's down to 5. I don't know what our opponent's playing, but... Kahira makes me think it's blue-white control. But anything on a mulligan to 5, I like having Thoughtseize against. Just going to go ahead and hit the revealed cards section here. Fatal Push, not super great. I can beat a counterspell. Harder for me to beat the... It is harder for me to beat the Supreme Verdict. Play Harvester, say go. Bloodtithe Harvester will more than likely not be used as a removal spell here, and will more than likely be used to cycle one of our Fatal Pushes away, in hopes of finding like a Thoughtseize or something. I'm going to attack for 3 and see what happens here, and then I'm probably going to just run out. I'm going to run out the Bonecrusher Giant here. It's a little aggressive not getting 2 points out of the Bonecrusher Giant, and maybe they have a Censor here. Maybe they drew into a Censor effect, but I would like to get as much down as I possibly can, and even if they have a Supreme Verdict here, which I'm hopeful that they don't, we will just run... they don't have a land at all. Well, we're going to attack for 7 here. Best way to beat Absorb is not to play spells into it. So we have 7 points on the board because of our opponent's awkward start. We're going to take advantage of that. If they ever tap out for anything, I will attempt to K-command them. But until then, I'm just going to, like right here, I'm going to cycle a Fatal Push off the blood token here. Oh, excuse me. Fabled Passage. I like to see like a... Well, we're going to attack for 7 again and see what happens. So if they do nothing and go to 3, then we're really just hoping that they... I mean, if they do draw into a Supreme Verdict here, like land for the Supreme Verdict, then we have K-command to... Oh, they just concede. Alright, cool. Well, we ended up getting pretty lucky against the way our opponent's deck got set up. Sorin, go blank, K-command. Do I want Feed the Swarm here? I don't really play that many enchantments, I don't feel like. I don't feel like we want really any of our removal spells. I feel like, I think Kalitas is just worse than these. Kalitas is just really slow in this matchup, so it feels... We're leaving in Dreadbores because they're good against Planeswalkers. And, like, it's pretty, like, it's good against bigger threats. Bringing in a bunch of cards that help grind them out, really help pick apart their hand. I feel like these matchups are always really close. Like, this hand's good. We just need to hit a couple more lands. Like, how many lands are we playing? I can't even remember off the top of my head. We're playing 23. So I'm pretty inclined to keep this. Like turn 2 Duress into like turn 3 Harvester. Like we're just playing a turn behind here, but I also feel like this is okay. Smashing as a land is pretty good, so leaving Smashing in, like, we would have just drawn a Kalitas right there in place of that, I'm like, hypothetically. So that was already pretty good. Alright, we're going to fetch for a swamp here. Let's go ahead and cast Duress. They might waste a counterspell here just to protect their hand. They might not. We'll see what happens. They consider in response. Okay, now that's interesting. Okay. I think we're taking Censor because they have to discard a card to cast Fateful Absence on our Graveyard Trespasser, or they have to cast Supreme Verdict on it, which is fine. I feel like taking Censor was our best play there. I made the mistake of not taking Censor some like couple weeks ago when I played this deck, so... Well, for drawing lands, I'm not going to use them if I don't have to. Plus, exiling cards from their graveyard allows us to keep... it allows us to keep them away from casting Dig Through Time better. At least somewhat better. Have to discard a card. I don't know if our opponent realized that this had Ward. Alright, well, we still get to eat that. They have Deserted Beach, Supreme Verdict, Memory Deluge. They're probably casting Memory Deluge here. Alright, we're going to run in another one. I mean, it's possible they drew a counterspell here. Censor would kind of be a blowout here, but I planned on playing the Shatterskull Smashing tapped anyway. Oh yeah, let's go. Nighttime. So we're going to play that tapped. We're not going to pay for it. And then we can use our Fabled Passage to search up a swamp. Our opponent's definitely going to cast Memory Deluge here. Memory Deluge is a really good Magic card. Alright, so they're going to have Supreme Verdict and 4 Unknowns in hand after they draw here. Now the good news is that we have a pretty decent hand here, so... Opponent just casts Supreme Verdict and says go. Alright, let's fetch for a swamp. We're going to go ahead and stomp them, and then we're just going to play the Bonecrusher Giant here. I feel like holding the K command is probably better for making them discard a card when they're hanging on to something. So, would like to see a go blank here. They consider an island to the graveyard, okay. Alright, we no longer know any of the cards in their hand, so... I feel like we're not in a terrible spot right now. Like, the spot's not great, but the spot's okay. Narset? Narset's not bad. I don't have a removal spell here. We do get to kill Narset, so... Fateful Absence? Okay. We get another clue. If Supreme Verdict and Unknown in their hand. What are we doing here? Go ahead and cast Dreadbore. And we'll cast Harvester and say go. I don't really want to discard our other Harvester here. Oh, my opponent's just going to try and get busy here with the 7/7. I respect it. Honestly, I really do. Almost makes me happy to see my opponent do this, because it's like, it's kind of nice to play against a blue-white control player who understands that they just can't sit there the whole game. Well... we're definitely going to attack for 3 here. I mean, there's a couple of lines here. One of the lines is play Sorin plus look for a land and then play Harvester. Or the other line is minus to make a token. I think I'd rather try and find a land here. Okay. Yes. Bop 'em. That's right. Let's go bin. Alright, Sorin off the top is insane. That allowed us to play both of our cards. Now, they do have a Supreme Verdict in their hand, but if they cast Supreme Verdict, they're not attacking. So, that's okay. Ben coming by with chat support. We love it. We love to see it. I'll have you know that he spends real dollars on subs. Real dollars, not Bezo bucks. And it will be appreciated till the day that I die, Ben. I need you to know that. Alright, well, we'll get our last mountain here. Our opponent about to play Supreme Verdict. Alright, 2 cards in hand. We don't know either of them. We're both at 13. That feels pretty good. Why don't we lead on plussing? Yes, please. Alright, so we're going to do that, and now we're going to draw step. We're going to draw step, make them discard, and return our Trespasser. Target player discards a card. Return target creature card from your graveyard. Target player discards a card. Do it in their draw step. So, I mean, if they have a counter spell, they're probably not going to play it here. I imagine they're just going to fire up the... They did hit a counter spell, but they're probably just going to fire up the Hall of the Storm Giants here and put us to 3. Which, honestly, I kind of like. Our opponent's getting aggressive here. I mean, I assume my opponent's going to attack me, not Sorin. They might take the turn to kill Sorin here. They're thinking about it. This is actually pretty interesting. Because if they hit Sorin, then you're taking a real good source of card advantage off the table for me right now. Yeah, okay. I don't hate that. That's also not bad. I mean, I guess I could have eaten a creature there to, like, try and help out or something, but I don't really want to do that. So I'm just going to crack the other clue here at my end step, or at my opponent's end step here. Okay. I mean, I'm going to go to 3 here. My opponent has no reach, so... Let's draw a card. We hit a Blood Crypt. We're going to lead on Duress. Woohoo! Take that. That feels good. So there's absolutely no way for them to remove this because it takes all the mana for them to do that. So I'm going to attack, I'm going to hit this, and then I'm going to hit one of my harvesters here. Go back to 4. Gonna put our opponent to 8. And then... yeah, we're just going to say go. I don't need another land. Our opponent taps out, here they're dead. Alright. They're going to attack us. We're going to block with a vampire token. We are going to... so from here, we get to play Bloodthirsty Adversary and kick it. K-Command hits them for 2. We attack them for 6 and they're dead. So that feels pretty good. Alright, activate a blood token, discard the Blood Crypt. Discard Haunted Ridge. I mean, go blank is good, but... say done. Target K-Command. Return Bonecrusher Giant. Deal 2. And then attack for 7. Alright. Well, that makes us 3-0. Set the stream to weighted R. Oh, baby, waxing kids. Oh, good lord, Ben. Alright, we get to be on the play, which is nice. Alright, our opponent has a companion. I feel like the blue-white control matchup is probably not a great one for us, honestly. Luris of the Dream Den. I feel like this is probably a keep. I mean, the fact that we're on the play with only 2 lands is a little aggressive here, but I like the idea of having 2 cards that gain life and then basically 3 removal spells. We're going to fetch for a basic mountain here at the end of the turn. Oh, we're playing against Burn. Okay, so as long as we hit a land here, like as long as we hit an untapped land here, we're in a pretty good spot. Okay. We probably should have fetched for a swamp there. If we fetch for a swamp, we have a higher chance of drawing a removal spell, so... Alright, so our opponent's probably just going to cast Light Up the Stage here. They scry 1 card at the top. Oh, Skewers. Oh, so they're playing the Skullcrack Burn. Okay, cool. Alright, they're playing that new list that we've seen floating around. Kind of wish we had like a Magma Spray here or something, but at least I assume they are. They're playing Skewer the Critics. But they're also playing Lava Runners, so I don't know. It's hard to tell. You never know what you're playing against, honestly. Oof, that's not good. Not hitting a 3rd land was kind of bad there, but that's okay. We do have double Stomp here, and hopefully we hit a land we can play into Trespasser. Gonna play this and say go. Our opponent's gonna Wizard's Lightning us to 10. So Eidolon puts us to 8. Well, not hitting lands has been kind of tough here. If we ever get to our 3rd land, we do have multiple Graveyard Trespassers, so that is promising. Our opponent buys Lyris. Alright, we are going to go to 8 here, off the Eidolon. Now, the only bad thing here is if they have Light Up the Stage, that would be really bad for us. Land, please. Alright, Adversary's not it. Alright, so this is a little aggressive, but we're going to go to 6 to Thoughtseize their Lyris here. So now we're at 3 and they have a Lightning Strike in hand. So we could just, we're dead to a lot of things here off the top. Alright, well, we really need an untapped, like, non-damaging land here, please. So that we can gain some life. Well... Guess we deal 2 to them and make them discard. That's our best play here. And then they have to fade for like 2 turns. This is our option. Like, we're technically giving ourselves a way out here. Just praying to God that they don't hit a haste threat or a burn spell. Yeah, I mean, there was like a less than 5% chance of us winning that game after we missed all those lands like that. That was just tough. K-Command's good. That's good. Legion's in is good. We want Feed the Swarm for Chain to the Rocks. Sorin's good as a lifelinker. I mean, maybe we bring in Go Blank or bring in Bedevil, but I think 1 Go Blank is probably better. So I think we try it like this. I've played against Burn twice with this deck, and I won once and I lost once. It's very close. Like, I know that game wasn't like super close, but I felt like we were moderately close to stabilizing that game, so play this tapped and say go. And then next turn, we'll probably play Legions in so that we can see what's coming. Plus, maybe we get lucky and we snipe some things out of their hand. Battlefield Forge tells me that they're low on lands. It's interesting that they played the Battlefield Forge as opposed to the Sacred Foundry on turn 1 there. Play Sacred Foundry. Play Soulscar Mage and Lava Runner, I guess. Are you gonna play Swift Spear and attack for one? Okay, play Swift Spear. Like to see like a Fatal Push or a Bloodchief Thirst here. Alright, we're going to go ahead and kill this here. And then next turn we have Eidolon into, or they have Eidolon. We're going to play Chandra plus use Stomp on Bonecrusher Giant so that they have to really go after Chandra if they want to kill it. Really? That's interesting. Okay. I'm really curious to know what their logic is there. Why Lightning Strike instead of Eidolon? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. Maybe my opponent knows something like about their deck that I don't. I'm just very surprised. So we're going to play Chandra. We're going to plus for mana. We're going to stomp the Swift Spear. And then we're going to say go. If our Chandra lives through the turn, we have multiple options next turn. Probably the best one being play a land, plus for mana, play double Bonecrusher Giant, say go. They're not even, like, remotely thinking about killing our Eidolon here. Okay. Well, we're at 9. They're playing the go upstairs game. Alright, so we get the minus. We're going to play this on the red side. Play that, say go. Now, Searing Blood is pretty ineffective here against what we're trying to do. And they're not at a much higher life total than we are, so... Feels like we're in a somewhat decent spot here, but again, that's, you know, nothing's guaranteed. They go after our Chandra with the Boros Charm after ignoring it. That is pretty interesting. Good for us, we have another Chandra here. So we get to attack for 4, and then we get to play Chandra plus play Graveyard Trespasser, go to 10. So we get to tie the game up essentially. Yeah, that feels pretty solid. This feels like a pretty good spot to be in. Our opponent's at... We're at 10, and our opponent only has a Searing Blood in hand, which kills none of our stuff, so... Legion's in letting us know what we were playing around was very good this game, because it really gave us like some free information without us having to take any life. Our opponent just says go. Nope, we're going to let that put our opponent to 7. Our opponent concedes, okay. I don't really know what our opponent's plan was there. I think we have it set up in the best way possible. Like, maybe Go Blank on the draw isn't good enough. I mean, I think we kind of want Go Blank, though. Like, I think we kind of wanted to, like, fade out some of their removal spells, and we just want to have Lifelink at the top here. I think that's really our best bet. Like, Shatterskull Smashing is something we don't want to cut because it's good as a land and as a removal spell, so... Really wish we had a turn 1 play here, but... I think this is good enough. Maybe we get lucky and peel into a Fatal Push or a Bloodchief's Thirst here. Not quite that lucky, but we do have Legion's End. So we have multiple removal spells here. Pyromancer, okay. We go to 18, now we go to 17. We're going to use Legion's End on the Pyromancer here. Kalitas is very good. Woo! Okay, so our opponent's hand is very good. We draw a mountain. I imagine they'll Wizard's Lightning us. Yeah, attack for 1, play Eidolon. Alright, so we have to go to 13 here, and then we're going to go to 11. I don't think we really want to take a chance. They discard a card. We kill our Eidolon. Now we do go to 11. We really just need them to not be able to cast both their Searing Bloods and our Kalitas. Actually, we're making them discard a card. I just, like, immediately forgot what I was talking about. So, alright. So it feels like we're in a pretty decent spot for Kalitas next turn. We're going to 9. Our opponent skewers us to 6. Oh boy. Play Kalitas and say go. Next turn, we can maybe, like, if we get to live through this turn. Yeah, if we live through this turn, we end up being in a pretty decent spot. Them drawing Chain of the Rocks off the top would have been the worst thing for us. Did they draw a 1-mana answer? Wow, they did. Alright, that sucks. Because now we're going to 3 and now we're going to 1. I mean, they needed to not draw an answer right there. Like, our burn opponent has drawn very, very well against us. They have made Searing Blood look really good in spots where it should not have. Alright. Well, let's fade. One time. Please, a burn opponent. I don't get to sit on this side of the fence very often. Normally I'm the one drawing lightning strikes off the top. No. Gosh. Man. Our opponent drew 3 lands and never stopped. Like, Jesus Christ. And, you know, the annoying part, like the... Let's create our match here and wait for our opponent. Alright, we're back to being on the draw. Let's hope that's a good sign. Because we're 3-0 on the draw and 0-1 on the play. Oh. At least I didn't lose to a 6. I lost to a 3 for once. I don't know what our opponent's playing, but I like this on the draw. We have a grindy Planeswalker, and we have turn 1 hand disruption followed by turn 2 removal. So this feels pretty solid. Overgrown Tomb tapped. Okay. Alright, let's Thoughtseize our opponent here, see what they're working with. Okay, well, we don't really have much graveyard hate against this, so this is going to be a tough scene. We're going to have to bring in all of our go blanks and hope that we draw into some Graveyard Trespassers. I mean, I feel like this matchup's not completely awful, like, as long as we can hit some, like, pretty decent cards. Alright, our opponent drew a swamp and played it. Play a Bonecrusher Giant, say go. I feel like Soulflayer is like a really good deck. I keep seeing like variations of it pop up. Our opponent's saying go and not playing a land here. It's like I would be very surprised if they were. They shock in. Put Samut into his hand. Okay. No idea why he shocked in his breeding pool to do that, but whatever. We'd really like to see a go blank here. Wow, ask and you shall receive. Go blank. Pull out the exile effect here. Our opponent gets rid of Bobbity and Boopity. Breeding pool, Mana Confluence, Samut in their hand, so thing has double strike, vigilance, and haste. So I mean, he has a Mana Confluence. He has a way to cast that thing. Like, okay. And it doesn't change anything because we have hours open. Gonna play that tapped and say go. I feel like having flash and haste is kind of like a non-bow. Maybe I'm wrong, but just kind of feels that way to me. Alright, our opponent plays Mana Confluence. They're going to play it now. I guess they'd rather attack for 6. Oh, I thought it was a 3/5 for some reason, but it's a 3/4. All right, so we're just gonna kill this thing, untap another target creature. Yep, we're gonna play this. We're gonna minus. Gonna play Den of the Bugbear so we can get more aggressive with that next turn, and we're gonna attack for 4 here. I guess our opponent could have more hasty threats here to try and do something with. But until our opponent puts something else on the board, we're in a pretty decent spot. They could play Soulflayer. That would be a problem. Like if they delved Samut or Samut, however you say it, for Soulflayer would be pretty solid here. Otherworldly Gaze. Puts all 3 cards into his graveyard. Okay, flashback Otherworldly Gaze. 1. So we put Solumgar into the graveyard and then 2 cards on top. I think this is worth casting. So, you knew my deck before we played? Who plays this much Graveyard Hate main board? Alright, feel like our opponent's getting a little salty, but that's okay if they are, because honestly, like, I could still lose this. And I don't really know what our opponent means by, so you knew my deck before we played. Like, did I know what deck you were on? Like, was I stream sniping you? No, but have I seen Soulflayer before in formats other than this one? Yes. You may put a creature card. I didn't even see what it says. Put the rest into your graveyard. Alright, so they're going to cast Soulflayer, and as long as they can't give a lifelink, then I think we're still going to win here. Because they can attack us for 8. But then we get to crash in for more than lethal. Them giving a lifelink here would be the problem. Double strike, flying, haste, hexproof, indestructible, trample, vigilance. Yeah, so our opponent's dead here. Because we're going to take 8 and go to 5. Oh, they're going to kill our Chandra. Then I'm going to hit us. Man, unless they have Fatal Push for our land here. Which I guess is possible. Have Fatal Push for our land. We're in a pretty tough spot, but exile a creature. Doesn't really matter which one. They block Bonecrusher Giant, take 7. Unless they did that to intentionally eat our board. Now they're going to cast Fatal Push. Okay, alright, so we like Thoughtseize here. Grafdigger's Cage isn't really doing anything. I think Go Blank is good. Extinction Event exiles, so that's really good. Cards that destroy or do things like that aren't really that great. Kalitas is a very slow form of Graveyard Hate, but it is Graveyard Hate nonetheless. Don't like Fatal Push here. It doesn't really kill anything. Bloodchief, Thirst, Dreadbore do have a chance at killing something. Do I like Sorin number 2? I don't think Legion's in is good enough. I mean, it's just too slow. There's not a very high chance that they hit something that doesn't have hexproof, I feel like. So I feel like we're just better off doing this and bringing in these cards to try and just bring in some hate. Maybe Duress is good enough here. It doesn't feel like it is, but maybe it is. Yeah, we definitely can't keep this hand. Wow, this is even worse. I mean, I guess this is something. We've seen 3 different hands with no Thoughtseize or Go Blank, which is fairly surprising. Oh, is our opponent playing Thoughtseize? Yeah, get us. I like it. Take our Dreadbore. Or take a Bonecrusher Giant, either way. Maybe you're trying to stop us from having a threat. I don't know. Takes the Dreadbore, so he probably doesn't have a way to give it hexproof. Having to mulligan to 5 was pretty bad. I mean, we mulliganed to 5 and had a worse hand than our 7. Like, which isn't the end-all be-all of the world, but it is a little disappointing. Hopefully we hit a land next turn, but if we don't hit a land, we could also just hit another natural Bloodtithe Harvester, and that would be pretty solid. Let's go ahead and cast a Thoughtseize here and see what we hit. Our opponent might have a counter spell in hand or something crazy, I don't know. Discard a Bonecrusher Giant. Probably should have got rid of the Chandra there. Honestly, I think it's just my want to hang on to power cards there that made me do that, but I feel like that was probably the wrong decision, honestly. Opponent plays Swamp. Green, red, blue, black. Gather the pack. Ooh. Okay, so those are the 3 cards in my opponent's hand. Land, please. Well, our opponent bricks on a land here for a couple of turns. I mean, we could just, like, try to burn them out and attack them for 3 a bunch of times. We have a Stomp effect, so... Oh, they're going to cast the Otherworldly Gaze from their graveyard. Okay, I wonder what they were doing here. So they probably get to set themselves up to have a land here. They put Gather to Pack into the graveyard and then leave 2 other cards on top. I mean, they're looking for Soulflayer or a land here for Samut, so either way, they're in a pretty decent spot. Ah, so it's Soulflayer. This thing gives it hexproof. Now, oh, I don't think there's a way for us to come back from this. Double Struck, Flying, Haste, Hexproof, Indestructible, Trample, Vigilance. Didn't have Hexproof. I mean, we could possibly, like, yeah, I don't... We're going to play it out for a turn or 2 here, but... We put him to 6, return Bonecrusher Giant. Yeah, the fact that that thing has Vigilance just makes it dumb. Like, if we could attack through it, then there might be something we could do there, but... Is that worth it, maybe? Is the idea of hating them out with casting Otherworldly Gaze better than Bloodchief's Thirst? I think the answer to that question is yes. Like, if we had had lands there, we could have had an out of Extinction Event off the top. Like, we could have just pilled something there to, like, go crazy. Alright, well, we don't have a Thoughtseize, but we do get to put Grafdigger's Cage down on turn 1. And then we have... I don't know, we have, depending on what we need, we have a couple of different options on turn 2. Or, I mean, on turn 3. We don't really have a turn 2 option here. Alright, no Thoughtseize. We're going to say go. We'll more than likely just play the go blank on turn 3. Hopefully they don't have like a discard effect here. They didn't have Otherworldly Gaze either, so they had nothing to do on turn 1. Okay, we say go. I just kind of hate to not get anything out of our go blank here. Is this a counterspell? Test of Talents. Holy crap, our opponent's playing Test of Talents in their sideboard. That is a card I wildly never thought I'd have to play around. Good counterspell for this matchup, though. Well, I guess the best play would have been to play Trespasser there, which is interesting. They left the go blank in our graveyard, which in some weird way, if we happen to pill an adversary in the next couple of draw steps, does give us some kind of an option. So there is that. Or no, it doesn't because of Grafdigger's Cage. It's Grizzly Salvage. Oh, shocking. They took Soulflayer. Well, Thoughtseize is probably our best draw step right here. If not, we're probably going to lose, so... Wow. Alright, well, Thoughtseize it is. Cannot complain about a good draw step like that. Wow. So they just have multiple Soulflayers in their hand? Alright, well, let's take one. And let's Graveyard Trespasser the chromatic blah 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 out of the way. And then if they do run out the Soulflayer next turn, we have the option of casting Dreadbore and killing it. Now they get to gain some life, but we get to Dreadbore it, and hopefully we draw into, like, honestly, a Trespasser would probably be, like, one of our best draws. Alright, so they are going to cast it. Our opponent's drawing very well. Like, our opponent is, like they're peeling lands when they need them. Like, they're drawing, like, good cards. Like, Test of Talents is honestly, like, I don't even know how to be angry about that. I just didn't see that coming. That was just a good draw step. Like, Test of Talents was just it's a good sideboard card for them. Alright, well. We are unfortunately out of cards here, so if they... I don't know, if they hit a land for Samut here, like if they go land for Samut Carnage Tyrant, we're in a pretty tough spot. That's going to be pretty tough for us to beat. Because they have the red for it. Like they've had Mana Confluence when they've needed it. Alright, well, we're getting to keep their graveyard pretty clean right now, which feels pretty good. And we're putting a clock on them. They go to 10. We play Chandra. Plus... no, I'd rather not flip my Graveyard Trespasser here back over, so... we're not out of the woods yet because the land still allows them to play Samut here, but... Yep, man, that's a good for them. But, man, drawing that Thoughtseize at the right time was a very, very, very good draw step. Now, the fact that it has Vigilance makes it pretty good, but Hive of the Eye Tyrant does have Menace here, so... They're going to kill Chandra. That's pretty smart. So it having double strike means that it will trade with that, but it also means that no matter what they do, just gonna say okay. Eating like there's no reason to eat anything here. They take 3, go to 4, and then they get to trade with our ambusher here. I don't understand what our opponent's doing here. Yep. If our opponent doesn't block here, they're dead. What does it say? Other creatures you control have haste. Man, that would have been really good. Alright, so they go to 4. I don't know. I'm always nervous when I play against this deck because it's like, man. Now to play Carnage Tyrant here, they're dead because they have to go to 2, and then Hive of the Eye Tyrant has Menace. So them having mana confluence here is actually kind of worked out for me a little bit. All right, we win the match. I'm going to say GG's, even though our opponent seemed like a salt fest earlier. All right, well, that makes us 4-1. I mean, that's a pretty good start to the night. So I did not think we were going to come out of that one ahead, if I'm going to be honest with you guys. That one felt like we were kind of, I don't know. That was a good one though. So we have to go 70% at 10 matches. So we have 5 more matches to play at some point, and we have to go 3-2 to win, or to qualify. I mean, and then we'll be playing for the leaderboard at that point. But the deck felt really good tonight. Like this Rakdos mid-range deck, like Rakdos Rock, as I've been calling it, it's a really solid deck. It has a lot of really good removal. It has a lot of really good hand disruption. Like it's a very solid like mid-range deck. So.